Well, since my videos have been kind of lame lately, not really working on anything, just been loading and doing dumb stuff, I figured I would kind of find something else to throw in the video just to make it a little better. You'll have to let me know what you think, and if it's dumb or whatever, hopefully you guys like it. But I figured I'd kind of show some pictures of some past King of the Hammers races and different things, like the very first car I raced at the King of the Hammers and kind of the story behind it or whatever. But hope you enjoy it. So my first year at King of the Hammers was 2008. They had actually had a race before that in 2007. They say this year's the 20th year. I'm not sure how, because I thought the first race was 2007, but I'm not gonna argue with it. I'm just gonna show up or whatever. But 2008 was my first race. I had been doing rock crawling and XRRA, which was some like short course elimination rock racing, and that was very fun. Dave Cole invited us out the very first year when there was 13 people, and we were just too busy with our other schedules and stuff and didn't make it. But in 2008, I made it a point to go out there, and there was, I think, 44 cars, and I started 43rd, and I drew, you had to, so they said if you weren't there, if you were out pre-running or whatever, you had to be there for the driver's meeting or you're gonna start last. Well, I rolled up there, and they were having the meeting or whatever, and I had guys there, but I got there and he says, "You're starting last," or whatever. And I said, "What?" I said, "I'm here. I was at the driver's meeting. I had guys there. I showed up a little late or whatever." And he said, "No, you drew last." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I guess there's no arguing that." And one of the stories behind that is later on, several years later, Dave Cole and I were on a plane heading to Europe for King of the Hammers or King of whatever it was called over there. I can't remember, but he says, "Hey, I got something that I got to get off my chest. It's bugging me." And he said, "I want to kind of tell you something. Don't get mad at me or whatever." And I said, "What is it?" And he's like, "Well," he goes, "Remember that first year, I said you drew last?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, when you pulled up to the driver's meeting," he goes, "I just realized I never pulled your name out of the hat." And the deal was he forgot to put my name in there. So he just acted like he pulled it out and said, "Oh, you drew last." And so it ended up being an epic story, because I started not quite last. I think I was 43rd out of 44. And I ended up being lucky enough to make it to the front of the pack and finish. And that was pretty exciting. I won a really cool trophy, which was my toolbox that Tool Chassis made. A couple of brothers out of right there in Hesperia had made it, and I'll show you that too. It's a really badass toolbox. But anyway, so I'm gonna show you one of the pictures. I found some magazine stuff that Matthew Nielsen, a guy that lives close to me, he watches the YouTube, and he sent over a bunch of magazines, and it's pretty cool because randomly I'll get them out and use them for references or whatever. I have a bunch of old pictures when I used to use like one of them box cameras and stuff, and I would take pictures. But there was like this era between, I don't know, 97 and I'm not sure when, since I got a phone that took pictures or whatever, that I don't have anything because it was all digital stuff and we had lost it. So magazine stuff is all I really have to look at anymore. Here is my very first KOH trophy. Such a sweet trophy. Beautiful toolbox. (2008). This here was my very first King of the Hammers car. It was a car that was built for XRRA, the short course rock racing. It had air shocks on it. They were bypass air shocks. It was pretty cool. It was some stuff that John Marking had designed for me when Fox was my sponsor, and you could just see how simple it is. And to me, you know, I really liked lightweight, simple cars. We didn't have a spare tire, you know. This thing only had like a 10-gallon fuel tank on it because we were just doing short course stuff, and we didn't need all that weight. And what really was nice about this car, and it kind of reminds me of, you know, what we're having today, you know, the UTVs, they're light and nimble. Even, well, they're probably about the same weight as this thing was. This thing, I think this thing was like 2,600 or 2,700 pounds. I can't remember, but it was nothing there, you know. It was just a small little car. It didn't have, you know, later on as we started evolving and stuff, going faster, the fans and the radiator being in the back of the car like it was here, you know, it just heated up too much and stuff like that. But it was very nimble, and I kind of wish I had time or something to really think about building another lightweight car like the UTVs are. But you really need, you know, like the transaxle, you need a UTV platform, and then just, you know, better stuff. And the UTVs that are out there today are really coming together and stuff. So, you know, I hate to see the big cars go because that's the show, but, you know, having big power and making all that noise and stuff, everybody loves it. But it's an unlimited class, so UTVs, you know, you're gonna see a lot more of them kind of taking over, I feel like. And, you know, we'll see how it works out this year. I know they're not as strong, you know. You know, if these guys are building their own chassis and stuff, you know, you can make some really good stuff. But when they're using the straight up UTV platform, you know, they break apart. I think one of the Miller brothers or one of the guys last year, I can't remember, you know, they broke the front of their chassis off real close to the end, but they were killing it. This was that same car again. This is at one of the short course XRRA rock races. And, you know, it was made for like a really small course. You can see there's really nothing here on this car. It's just a freaking go-kart, and I loved it. And, you know, they came out with rules like you had to have a spare later on and stuff like that. And kind of really, I didn't run a spare until probably, I don't even know. It wasn't too long ago, eight years ago maybe. We started running spares. And at the time, you know, back in the day, I teamed up with this company that was building tire balls. They wanted some military testing and stuff, and I was like, oh man, I'd love to, you know. And I'd seen them in some motorcycle stuff, and really made for a cool, you know, you didn't have to get out and change a tire. You could drive that thing to a pit. They were a pain in the butt to put in. I didn't like that part of it. But in 2017 or one of them years, they outlawed tire balls. They said they were dangerous. Not sure why, but my feeling is, you know, it was some political reason of some sort. But the whole tire ball thing, you know, to me, I thought it was safer. You know, the tire, you didn't have to get out on a course and change a tire and take a chance of getting hit or whatever. And I didn't have to carry the tools to change a tire. I didn't have to carry, you know, a jack or an impact or anything like that, you know. So to me, it was keeping it simple, and I really liked the whole thing, the concept back in the very beginning. Here's another picture of that car in 2007, and you can kind of see here how small the radiator was before. This is in 2007, like the year before I went to King of the Hammers, and we had taken this little bitty radiator out and put this bigger one in there. This is like a 31 by 19 stood straight up. So you can kind of see the difference, you know, how I tried to make it a little bit better for desert or whatnot. But yeah, this little simple changes. So after my first win in 2008, I was pretty excited and pumped about the being a desert race mixed with rock racing and stuff. And it was cool. It wasn't desert racing. It was its own thing, and you can tell as later on it became huge. But after my win in 08, in 2009, I went home and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna build an A-arm car. And what sparked me for the A-arm car is back in 2002, I built this car. Everybody called it the Psycho Billy Cadillac. It had a North Star engine. It was a one seat, and I had built it to, it had a turbo 350 transmission, and it was just the coolest thing. And I built it as a rock crawler. Well, everybody knows A-arms don't work worth a crap, and this thing was kind of a weird, awkward treehouse looking thing. It had a straight axle in the rear and independent in the front. And it sucked for rock crawling, but it was so fun to drive and jump, and it was like having it kind of reminded me of an Odyssey or something like that, except for it had a North Star Cadillac, the North Star motor in it, and it made some sick power, and it was pretty cool. And it's even funnier because I was looking through some pictures the other day, and I forgot that was the very first car I ever dry sumped. I don't know why I dry sumped it, but I dry sumped it. And anyways, I would take it to the dunes and stuff and go to the sand drags, and I remember people like, what the hell is that thing? And I said, it's just a rock crawler. And they're like, yeah, whatever, but it was so cool, and it sounded so cool, and I mean, it just ripped. But it was some redneck engineering. I had taken a 14 bolt, and Randy Ellis is a good friend of mine, and he's the one that inspired me to kind of make an independent car. He did a full independent little rock crawler thing. He called it the Red Racer. It had a little 1.6 engine in it, and it was cool too. I mean, but he's the one that inspired me to build this first A-arm car. And after building this thing and finding out that it was terrible for rock crawling, I knew right away in 2008 when I won the King of the Hammers, it wasn't like rock crawling. You're going up these canyons at speed. You didn't have to dodge cones, so you can keep the platform in a good space and stuff. So I knew for a fact that if I can build this A-arm car correctly, and I had hired Pro-Am, Roy DeBon over at Pro-Am. A lot of guys might know them from desert racing and stuff, but I hired them to design the front suspension so that there was no bump steer and the axle CVs and stuff. And it kind of spiraled from there. It went crazy. And I literally started this build one month before, well, actually the beginning of December, I started working on it. I got my first parts. I built this car in 30 days. I had a picture with some dots on it that said, here's where your pivot points need to be. And at the time, Matt Taylor, the guy that still designs all my cars and stuff, he's the one that designed the front end with Roy's help. Roy, Matt had just started working for Roy, I think, prior to that, and he's come a long way. He does a lot of cool stuff now. But the pivot points, they did all that, and then I made the rest myself, and I built this thing in 30 days. And I remember Roy, he was like, no way you can build a car in 30 days. And I ended up doing it and took it out there. And because I didn't have enough tranny cooler, I ended up smoking. Well, actually, first I broke the input shaft on the transmission, and Jeff Howe towed me back in 2009, and I fixed it. We took a transmission out of another guy's car and put it in there. It took a couple hours, and I went back out on the course, and after that is when they changed the rules. You could not get towed in by anyone. You had to get in on your own power. So there's been a lot of rules made because of the moves that I've made. Like the very first race, a lot of you guys might not know, but I got a flat and I didn't have a spare, and we're real close to the finish line, and one of the pit guys, Marvin, cool guy, had a Toyota Land Cruiser, same wheel pattern. He literally undid the lug nuts on his Toyota and drove off, like let it, because we didn't have a jack or anything. So he just drove off of it, pulled this tire off, give it to me in the middle of the desert. There's a picture somewhere, I don't have it, but I think like 4 or 5 guys, my car was so light, they just picked my car up and put this tire on, and I won. So that was another cool story about 08, you know, just so many cool things. Well, then after that, they made a rule also that you couldn't have outside assistance, like for that kind of stuff. But then the next year, they made the rule you couldn't get towed in by anyone, and you had to get in on your own power. So anyways, 2009 wasn't, you know, it was a cool year because Jason Sheard actually won, and I felt bad because we kind of stole some of the glory of his win because everybody was so excited how badass this car was. You know, at first they were talking shit about it, you know, oh, no way independent will ever work, you know. I mean, everybody was just negative about the whole thing, but I knew that it was going to work. And once we got everything kind of dialed in, the tranny coolers and stuff like that, you know, because we were going a lot faster, it was a lot better car. But anyways, I'll show you this car next. I'll start out by showing you guys first. This was the Psychobilly Cadillac, had a North Star engine in it. This was a good friend of mine, or still is, Andrew. He's friends with Ken Shoop and Moose and all them, and we used to love to hang out with these guys back in the day. But yeah, so this is the Psychobilly Cadillac. This is what a go-kart it was. You can see the front, and look at that, my very first ever Howe steering rack. I remember people were kind of blown away that the way that I mounted the rack too, you know, because normally they're made to be laid down a little differently, but this had Chevy outers on it and stuff, and it didn't have CVs. I used a 1480 U-joint shaft that wasn't the best design at all. It was horrible, but this thing hauled ass. It was pretty cool. This is in front of my uncle's shop next door to where my dad lived. We worked out of this shop for a little while. My first ever A-arms I ever built, all tubing. There's kind of a side stance before we got it kind of the right height figured out and stuff like that. Picture of my very first dry sump ever. I don't know why I put a dry sump on it. I can't remember. Maybe it was to do it. Oh, that's why, because I took the oil pan off so that it would sit directly above the third member. That's exactly why I did the dry sump. There was no pan on the bottom of this North Star motor. This was also the first set of headers I ever built. I had done a lot of exhaust and stuff, but never built a full set of headers, and this thing sounded cool as hell. There's my headers. It was kind of cool making, you know, for your first time ever. Here's a little bit better picture. You can see where I made my oil pump mount and stuff. And this was the brackets that held the GM front differential in the chassis. And then look, you can see the rack still kind of similar to what I did today, except for I had this 90 drive. You can see it sticking out right there. So that's, I can't remember exactly how that was. I don't know if I have any pictures of that, but that's how I got the steering up to a little bit further up there. Cool picture of my, okay, this is it. This is the car that I dreamed up. And we built this in 30 days, my brother and I, and probably a little help from my cousin and my dad. Yeah, this was before they drew everything in SolidWorks. I did get like I said, I got a picture that had the pivot dots, and then I just made all my own bracketry and all that stuff. And then later on, I can't even remember, 2016 or 17, we started completely drawing the car, like the whole car in SolidWorks. But I was always fast at hand making stuff, probably still faster than most people can get things done today if it's just a one-off car. The only purpose to me to build things in SolidWorks is you can cycle it and do everything, and you know, you don't find too many people that don't use SolidWorks nowadays, but this thing was 100% handmade in 30 days. Ryan Linder always did all of our header work, and he phenomenal. I mean, I still use him to this day, everything I do. I mean, it'd be fun to build headers, but when you got guys that do stuff fast, you know, that's what I like. I don't like to do things I can't do quickly or whatever. You can see the steering right here, CVs. Very simple car. And then it had a 3-link in the back. This was kind of from our rock crawling eras, and then after this, then we started doing 4-link. She was a mean machine. I ended up selling it to Bill Baird. I think he still might have the chassis, and he was recreating them, building his own and stuff, and putting his own twist on it a little bit later on. Here's a picture of the inside. Real simple. And I remember one year I lost a tranny, and my brother was racing. He was in one of our other cars. It was a 2-seat car, him and Rob McKinney. And he came up on me and hooked up and drugged me to the pit, and we put a transmission in this thing in less than an hour. I remember Tom Beebe and a bunch of guys there, all the Griffin girls. It was a pretty fun little workout in the pits. It was awesome. And then we continued on. That was in, I can't even remember what year that was, but they're real easy to work on. Here's a picture of Rick Dermo. He was one of my best competitors. He's a bean farmer out of Colorado. Really cool family. Really love these guys. It's kind of bummed to see him get out of racing, but he had other things to do. We still talk to him every now and then, but this was, you know, right about the same time when I built this car, and I tried to use it for XRRA, but it was too heavy and too big for the little short course elimination races that we did. But good times. I figured I'd just show you that because Dermo's a good friend and I ran across this. Here's another car that I figured I'd just show you because I ran across it about the same time in 2010. I built this thing right before Parker 400, and this was my version of a Class 1 car that was all-wheel drive. And yeah, this was a pretty badass car itself too. I wish I still had it, but we raced it all the way up until like 2019 at Baja and stuff. We won a couple of Baja races in it, the 1000 in our class, and very cool car. And I feel like a lot of people, when they started, you know, when I was building it, said 4-wheel drive and never work in the desert. The Herps tried it, and it's pretty awesome to see that Mason Motorsports and all them have come to make this thing, or make 4-wheel drive in the desert just really blow up. Just some more little pictures of, I figured I'd show you why I got it out. And this thing, man, it was so fun to drive. And it was just not, it was really a small motor in it, nothing crazy, but being all-wheel drive, it just really worked well. This was the rear end in the desert car. That's the headers. There's an LS7 that was in this one. This is inside the cockpit on the desert car. Got a screen for co-driver and for driver. This was the rear suspension. This car is lighter than my current Ultra 4 car. And it had 80 gallons of fuel on the tail and has 2 spare tires. Yeah, you can see this other one set right above the motor. It's pretty cool. So, this A-arm car that I built in 09, I didn't get my win in 09, and I didn't get it in 2010 because of the transmission that I had lost. But I finally got my first win in this A-arm car in 2011. And by then, a lot of people had started thinking, man, this is the way to go. You know, we're going to build an A-arm car for the Hammers. And now, you know, there's only a handful of solid axle cars, and I still like a solid axle car for the Hammers because it's more of an endurance race or whatever. But, you know, these are just so plush and a sweet little ride. Some more cool pictures I found in the magazine. I was a fat son of a gun back then. Pretty cool seeing these old pictures. Some more ads. They ran a lot of ads back then. I miss the magazines. Any of you guys miss the magazines? Let me know in the comments. Another Mastercraft ad. Pretty cool. Yeah, it was pretty cool winning 2011 finally in this A-arm car. Lose some weight, would you? And then in 2015, I believe it was, I built a new A-arm car, and I really loved this car. I hated to get rid of it, but you have to sometimes to move on to different things. But this was an epic time in my life. 2017, Waylon and I had both, well, in the UTV race, this was my first year racing UTVs. We both were sponsored by Polaris, and I got first in the UTV race, and my son Waylon was second. And then in the big race, I won the big race, and Waylon got second. He actually beat me to the finish line. This was probably one of the most memorable moments of my life. It was seeing him push hard enough. You know, usually he would never really kind of race me, and he just kind of stayed back, and he's fast, you know, and he was in my old car that I had built in 2011. Actually, yeah, I don't even have a picture of that car. So right after I won in 2011, I built a new A-arm car, and Bill Baird bought this one from me. And then I had the one from 2011, which Levi had a mate to it. It was also identical to the one I built in 11. I don't have any pictures of it. I won a lot of races in that car. I never won the Hammers in it. But in 2017, finally, in this car that I'd built in 2015, I finally got lucky enough to win again. And me and Waylon battled it out all the way to the finish line, and it was pretty epic. I mean, he thought he had won, and I got him by like 26 seconds on corrected time. He passed me, you know, probably a mile or two before the finish line right there after back door. I had clipped a wall and took a tire off. Tire balls went flying everywhere, and I finished it on 3 wheels and got another win. I know there was a lot of people that were kind of butthurt that I couldn't let my son win. I said, he's got his whole life to win, and why would I give up a race? If he wants it, he's got to earn it. And by darn, he earned his second. He didn't quite get first, but I thought he had gotten me until they said, nope, you got him by 26 seconds. So that was awesome. Here's another picture of the car. This is an ARB ad. ARB does all of our lockers and stuff. I mean, I'm sure you guys know by now I'm a diehard ARB fan, so they make the best and the only thing we use. Another cool ad, Waylon and I up on the podium. Pretty sweet. Yeah, this is that car that I built in 2011, and he won a lot of races in it too. And then there's this one that I built in 2015. This is a picture from the Lakebed in 2017, I believe. Yeah, and I wish I had a picture of 2008, what it looked like. There was literally a row of trucks and trailers all in one line, and that was the pits, and there was only 44 of us racing, so pretty cool to see the different changes. I'm sure someone has a picture of it. This was a picture from the UTV race. This is right after Waylon came in and finished second in 2017, and I had won. Pretty cool. This is also just a picture of what it used to look like out there. I think this is back door. I mean, look at the carnage going on, and look at, you know, the people used to just all over this hill and whatnot. Pretty awesome. I remember that first year I built the A-arm car also being in Sledgehammer, and Casey Curry, he had borrowed one of my previous cars to race with, and he had rolled over and was on his side, so it was kind of a butt plug there at the Sledgehammer at the plaque. And I just remember see all these people in this picture. There was that many in the bottom of Sledge, and that's why now they've got, I mean, they were climbing on my car talking to me, and while I was waiting for people to get out of the way or whatever. But yeah, now it's crazy how much snow fence they put up out there to keep people away from and off of the track. The things they got to do to make this race happen. Well, I hope you enjoyed the history of my A-arm cars and how they came about. And if you do, please like, subscribe, and let me know what you want to see or whatever. But as soon as we get back from the Hammers, we're going to get on the Toyota the project for Caprera, and then also my Jeepster. I want to get my Jeepster done, and I kind of figured out what I'm going to do for power plant and all that stuff. So stay tuned, and yeah, now you can watch the rest of the crap that I did this week, which wasn't much. So that's why I did this kind of talking about and showing you pictures. I hope you like it. Thank you. Back over here at Torco this morning, getting ready to fill up my transfer. Then we'll be ready. Got a few little errands to run today down in the valley and head back up the mountain. We're supposed to maybe get snow again this weekend, so I hope not, but get home before I get slicked up. And the transfer is complete. Well, I showed up out here in Queen Creek at the pork shop to get some tamales and all kinds of other stuff. Oh, look at that. They represent the pork shop. They have all kinds of stuff. I like these Sun Devil sticks and green chili sausages and summer sausage. You name it. This place is pretty wild. Got me $130 worth of pork here at the pork shop. And look at that cute pig.
Okay guys, next up I'm gonna make a lemon blueberry cake for my daughter. She turns 24 tomorrow, and that's the cake she's requested. I've probably made this cake at least a dozen times, but I've got my recipe printed out right here. I've got all my ingredients laid out in order of the recipe. Makes it easier to follow. And I know some of you guys are saying, hey, don't forget to share those recipes. I'm really sorry, I forget to get those in the descriptions. I get real busy putting those videos together, and a lot of times I feel like nobody's even reading my descriptions, but maybe you are, so sorry about that. I will try to do better about getting those in there. And stay tuned, I'll show you this cake when it's all finished. I have to show you, as I'm assembling these cakes, how pretty it is. Obviously that's the underside of the cake. I put parchment paper down in the pan to make it come out easier. And yep, so now we're building the cake.
A lot of you guys out there have hit a certain age, we won't mention it, and you're thinking to yourself, man, I don't feel like I used to feel. Maybe you don't recall.
Taylor's been burning the midnight oil. Next level. These are all just for sale, and then he did a bunch of team shirts and stuff. And he got the team shirts done. Taylor does badass work. Only works at midnight.
Yeah.
Well, midnight to time he's got to go to real work.
We got those hoodies. These are the mediums.
Hold that up
Two
there.
mediums that I put in here. Got that.
Oh yeah.
Got the logos down the side.
Got the
King of
coupe.
Hammers, Coupe Crew.
And then our new cartoon. Pretty sweet. Thanks, Taylor. Jess got the baby a little toy box thing for her room. for her birthday coming up while we're at the Hammers. And look who gets stuck doing all the hard work. I like to do the paying and buying the stuff, and then she can put it together. Toughest job I've ever done. Look at that. Couldn't have done it better myself. Yeah, next time I'm purchasing something you don't have to put together. Oh, that's a beautiful little birthday cake.
Finished product, the lemon blueberry birthday cake with cream cheese frosting. It's
Is that mine?
Very dense. Is this yours?
Yeah.
You can have a slice of lemon over here, huh?
I didn't even get to lick the bowl. I'm surprised.
Oh, you were gone off Dilly
Well, you should have scraped the bowl out and put it in
Apparently you were in some castle type store.
Should have put it. You should have scraped the bowl and put it in a
I'm sure that's in
bucket
the video.
for me.
Did you get in trouble for videoing there?
I didn't video there.
What?
Yeah, everybody that knows what the castle is. I went to get some Valentine's gear for Valentine's, and I didn't video in there because I just forgot.
And you would have gotten in trouble.
Oh no.
You think you'd get in trouble for videoing in Sephora?
Yeah, I can't wait till Valentine's. Down to the nitty gritty. Running
I
out.
have a present for you.
Oh, what's my present? Oh,
I'm not sure though if the fourth time's gonna be the charm or not.
give me that and shut your mouth.
I will teach you how
If-
to use a tape measure.
Yeah.
Okay?
You're the one that thinks I'm 12 inches.
Hey now.
I never told her nothing. I didn't deny it either, though.
All right, let's see what we got.
If this doesn't fit, you're definitely going to have to measure it. Oh, I think it's going to work. I want to trim it down, but I'm not cutting this one. Where's my socket? Oh, there it is. It blends in. Oh, yeah.
Does it work?
Look I got a little bit to go and it's tight, so. They got so many, they all say 4-inch and they're freaking like 2 millimeters different, each one of them.
Must have been a man.
Call it a 4-inch.
Must have been a man that put the measurement on there. He was lying.
Yeah, I never lie about
Like a
nothing.
fisherman.
You never say nothing. Hey.
So did you use your lockbox?
Move in. Come on, everybody move in. Half
See your
circle.
faces,
Scoot
basically.
this in more.
On the count of 7, we're gonna start
You
singing.
can still sit, but just like.
Are we ready?
Yep, by the count of 7. Ready?
I'm gonna
1.
7. Happy birthday. More KOH prep. Had to get the hair done. I don't have my chauffeur here to pick me up today, so looks like I have to drive myself. There's a crack in my screen, sorry for the glare. I've got to go, where am I going after this? I have to pick up stickers from Gary, and I have to go see Nick at Campbell ENT and pick up some stuff that was dropped off for Shannon. So off I go.
Been out running around all morning. UPS showed up while I was gone and brought Jess's party box. She was looking for a music box for out there, and a bunch of you guys commented and said that was the one, the JBL, so. And look what else showed up. Some spare axle shafts from Brannick. I like how it says made in the USA. They make the best.
Okay, special delivery. Thanks, Nick. He didn't want me to drive away. He said, there's a little more, Jess. Hold on.
Well, the old JBL jukebox that Jess ordered showed up. I'm gonna have to tell her we're gonna need the microphone so I can use it to yell at her upstairs when I need her to do something for me. And this thing cranks pretty good.
To the skyline glow.
Yeah, she's gonna be very happy with it. I went and got a bunch of stuff. I got some more straps to tie stuff down. Went and got the power tank filled up, so I gotta get that back on there. Lots of stuff. Getting close. A few more days and we're out of here. Supposed to get some snow, but I don't think we're gonna get anything. It's a little warm. Even when she's not home, she's taking care of me. Look at that. Pot roast. My wife is the best cook on the planet. Thank you, dear. Look who showed up, Darth Vader, trying to show me her new shoes she got for Christmas from my mom. Are them Vader shoes? Get out of here. Go get dressed and come down here with something more.
I'm booking rooms for the year, but I am going to come down here and look through all these shirts.
Put something appealing on. Like,
There's nothing under it.
well, take it off then, Darth Vader.
Once the timer runs out.
So, I bought this fuel transfer pump. It's not really a fuel transfer pump, it's a water pump, but I guess some people use them for fuel, so I was gonna give it a shot because it's Milwaukee battery operated, which is kind of cool. Not sure, oh, that's where the battery goes. Oh, kind of crazy. But anyways, I'm gonna take this fitting off, and I need to go to the hardware store because I don't have a whole lot of number 12 stuff, but this is, you know, some AN fittings. And what I was thinking about doing was going from AN. This is the cap that goes on top of that fuel transfer over there, or that fuel tote. And I was gonna try to find, I thought I had a number 12 bulkhead, but I don't. So I'm like scrambling thinking, man, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna put another number 12 hose on the inside so that it can pick up, and I'll just put a weight on it. But I'm thinking, I had this that I cut off another piece. That's 3/4 pipe, and I'm thinking just drilling this and threading it. And I was gonna go down to the hardware store and see if maybe I can find a female thread just to back it up and put a flange on it so that it's a little stronger. I don't have to worry about it leaking, but I was gonna cut that and weld it on here. But I'm gonna have to go to the hardware store.
So here's one of the items I brought back from your mom. This was in her grandma's house. So your great grandma.
Nice.
Yep. I love it. But the rest of the stuff is in the car.
Oh, she's telling me I need to unload the car. Well, how about if I just take it to the hardware store and then I bring it back and you unload it, dear? But I got this nice little case for this. And I'm kind of hoping that I can come up with the right fittings because I don't want to have it all rednecked out. But this case holds this pump, which is kind of cool. So I can put that in there. I might have to do a little work on it. This isn't tight yet, but I might have to do some foam cutout. I'm getting good at that. But I'll run to the hardware store and see what they got for fittings. I mean, this is the one that was in here. This is like regular hose stuff, which could possibly work too, but I don't know, we'll see. There's all my Justice Brothers stuff. This is my favorite. All kinds of stuff from them, and another box there. Got my stickers from Gary, and oh yeah, lots of these to hand out at the Hammers. Jess and Ken are going through shirts, getting them ready, and I found this nipple, or I don't know, union I guess you'd call it, but it's 3/4. This is 3/4, and what I want to do is I want to get this where it buries itself far enough where I can put an O-ring on both sides and seal it when I put it through here. and I'm hoping that that's gonna work. And then because that's 3/4 on the other side, I can probably find another fitting, an AN fitting on that side. I'm gonna cut this port thread off this side so that I can weld this pipe thread on there. So I cut that off. Now we'll sand it. And then we'll strip it with some acid. Bubbling away. The old acid magic. I'm gonna strip this washer out and I'm gonna punch it on my iron worker so I can weld it on here so it creates a flange, is what I'm thinking. That way to tighten up against this top right here and give it a better sealing surface with an O-ring. All right. This ought to make a nice kapow. Well, maybe not. Dang it. I'm gonna have to press it back straight. And we got that one all stripped. Next, we'll weld these two together. Okay, now that I've got that flange welded on there, I'm gonna drill and tap this 3/4 pipe, and it's gonna thread into this, and I'll hit this on the sander just to make it a nice smooth surface. And I can put an O-ring on it just to make sure it doesn't leak. And then we'll just put a cap on this when we're not using it, and it'll have a standpipe already in there, so I won't have to have a hose on one side. I'll just have a little bitty coupling hose that couples this up, and then of course I'll make my fuel hose that comes off this side and has the meter and all the stuff on it. All right, so what we're gonna start with is we're gonna get us a pilot hole in here, make sure we don't get into that little vent right there, and then we'll start opening it up and get it where we can tap it 3/4 pipe, and hopefully that works out pretty good. And hopefully it really works, because I don't have another cap and we leave here Monday or Tuesday or whatever, so I really need to make sure that we're good to go, you know what I mean? And I think I'll go ahead and open it up 1/2 inch just to be sure, and then we'll, woo! Well, that's about what I expected. Just a rip on in there, huh? All right, let's try this step bit. Okay, that's pretty thin too, so we'll have to see. Keep on going. Oh, man, I almost went too far. And you know what I didn't even look at? Oh my goodness. I hope. That is just barely gonna fit right there. That I might have got too close to that vent. Well, that's me doing dumb things. So let's just hope that I can tighten that up in there. Yeah. Go ahead and open it on up some more. I was hoping that was gonna be a little thicker than that. Luckily, there's a pretty decent flange on both of these pieces. What I might have to do is take a little bit off the outside there. So let's just see what that does. Whoopsies. And we'll I think it's gonna work pretty good, I hope, as long as the other piece fits. Feels pretty dang tight. Okay, that must not be the side that I tapped. So we're gonna go ahead and flip sides. Yeah, I think that's gonna work. And then we will tighten this up. I guess I could just put my pipe dope on there and I think I might need to open this up just a little bit more so it sandwiches on this plastic better. So I'll get my tap back out and open this up just a couple more turns real quick. If I can find it down here. Butterfingers dropped it. Okay. And we can even, like I said, surface that a little bit if I need to, but I feel like that plastic's gonna seal pretty good just because it's there, and I can maybe put an O-ring on it. I don't think it needs too much more than that. Yeah, put some tape on here. Go ahead and get back after that. I think it's gonna work pretty good. You have to let me know what you think of my redneckness. And if you think it's gonna work. I feel like it's got it pinched pretty good. And we'll go ahead and put this AN fitting in here now. Okay. And we'll go ahead and thread this AN fitting on here. On the other side, I'm not sure what I'm gonna use yet because I need to go look at my fuel hose that has the fuel nozzle on it and see. And you want to be careful with this. You don't split the threads here because this is just chicken shit aluminum, if you know what I mean. A measure from the top of the cap. So I'd say about 3 5/8 from the top of the cap, so we know how deep to make our standpipe or hose. All right, here's my pickup tube. I put a weight on the end of it, so it keeps it down in there, but it's not gonna touch the bottom because we don't want it rubbing a hole in the transfer tank. And I could pull this off there if I wanted and just cap the lid, which we might do for transport just to make sure that it's not screwing it up. She is. We'll stick that in there. Could be about, inch and a quarter off the bottom, which will be good. Too nice. If I can get it to thread on, there we go. I like it. Yeah, I've got these AN fittings on here. I need to trim this foam out. I marked it so that these fittings will fit because they stick out a little further, and then I got caps that I'll cap it with when I put it in here. I sure hope this works good because my Harbor Freight pump worked awesome, but I just liked the simplicity of this a little bit better. I felt like this was a little bit, it's battery powered. I don't have two things or whatever, so look at that. Maybe I'll go down just a little bit more so it sits in all the way. I don't know where my other razor knife is. Oh, there it is over there. Let me grab it. This one will work a little bit better. Kind of nice having a case to put it in. The other one just kind of sat in my trailer, and I'll take it for a backup still, but I just thought this would be a little nicer to work with. Look at that. Okay. Then we got this space over here. Part of it's for a battery and some other stuff, but we'll use it for other things. This is my Harbor Freight pump, which works very well, but it's got this hose on it. I figured if I had a standpipe, then it's one less thing to deal with. I just hook it up and leave it on the deal over there, but I put AN fitting on here, and you can see I got my gauge and everything, and I'm gonna put an AN fitting here, so if I need this pump for some reason, I can just unthread this instead of having a barb and a hose clamp, and I can just thread it right on. So I'll do that and cap it, and we'll have two, but just one of these. No reason to have all that stuff. Looks like it's a burn day. I got so many dang boxes in there. Jess and her Amazon, LOL. It's just piling up on me. Okay, I got the wheel back out and the hubcap. I looked all week for some different stuff. This is some 764 vacuum line, and I'm just gonna slice it open. All the other stuff that I looked at for channeling, the sides were too tall, so it came way up here and it looked stupid. So I'm just gonna see what this looks like and see if I wanna continue on with it. And I'll probably make a couple of tabs that this will bolt it down and see what it looks like. I just wanna get one done just to kind of know in my head, okay, yeah, that's what I'm doing, or should I find someone to make me some billet caps that look like that? So I've drawn it again, shortened it up, because when I put the rubber on there, it stuck up too high. So I'm just gonna keep sanding it off until it fits perfect. Taking a nut, and I don't know if you can see that, but I tapered it with this. That way this will indent into it. See how that sits flush? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bolt it through here and tighten it up, and that's gonna concave that so that this sits flush. So now let's tighten this up. Oh yeah, look at that sucking in. I could probably concave it just a little bit more. So I got that concaved, and you can kind of see how I'm getting that, that aluminum under there, but I'm gonna have to change it up a little bit. And it's not going as easy as I thought it was. Jess says, you wanna go drink about it? And I said yes. So that's what we're doing, calling it a night. And look at that, it's finally snowing. Oh well. Night on the town, she says, let's go drink about it. I like that. And then we got here, and we ran into Flip, our good buddy, and we ran into some other friends.
Well, let me explain. So we were sitting here having a beverage, and this gentleman comes up to us and he says, this is gonna sound really weird, but I think I know you. 2 years ago or so, in March, I saw you getting on a plane in Cancun. And we were like, wait,
Saw
what?
her. You didn't see me, I hope.
I was wearing a bikini. So we were like, wait, what? But anyway, I'm going to just make it a really long story short. Obviously, we were having our honeymoon, and this guy that lives up here was going to, I think, his son's wedding.
It can't come.
Or coming home from the son's wedding, whatever. And he saw us, and now he sees us here at the local watering hole, and he recognizes us. Isn't that funny? Small world.
Oh yeah, it's finally Christmas.
Where did you park, babe?
Oh, way over here. Come on, I got you. Oh, well, I guess the snow came down a little bit.
No, you were supposed to open it really slowly.
Oh, well, the seat heaters are on there.
Why are you locked in here?
Why you lock us out? Why you lock us out? Come on in, puppies.
Wait.
Oh, we made it back from Scott's, which is just down the street. We should be out doing donuts and having a good time in the snow, is what we should be doing.
This is a good time in the snow.
Well, if we were doing donuts, it would be even better.
Well, there's no real snow, so that's the problem.
Well, there's an inch or two. Sunday morning, and it is white out here. I can't even enjoy my patio because I got snow everywhere. This always makes it crappy to load. One more day and we're out of here. Heading to the Hammers. Oh, why Sleeping Beauty's up there sleeping off her mineral spirits she had last night. I'm gonna make some tuna. I like to use Famous Dave's spicy pickles. I'll probably put a whole jar in this. 5 cans of tuna, bunch of onion, eggs, all the good stuff. Like I said, the whole jar of pickles, sweet and spicy. This really makes the tuna the best. And a whole onion. And the eggs. So bright out today. Hopefully this stuff melts off. Woo! Icy. Holy crap. About ate it. Going to Walmart to get a Walmart order. I just love it when it's like this, except for when I have to work in it. This is what we wish it looked like at Christmas time.